Here's a detailed, section-by-section summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Introduction. My story. James Clear begins the book by recounting a personal incident from his high school sophomore year where he was hit in the face with a baseball bat, resulting in severe injuries including a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, and 2 shattered eye sockets. This accident led to a medically induced coma and a long, challenging recovery period with double vision and motor skill issues. He describes the humiliation of being cut from the varsity baseball team despite his lifelong dedication to the sport. The turning point came in college at Denison University, where he began to implement small, consistent habits, such as good sleep routines and keeping his room tidy. These minor improvements gave him a sense of control and confidence, which cascaded into improved study habits and academic success. This experience taught him that seemingly small changes, when compounded over years, can lead to remarkable results. He emphasizes that the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits, and that achieving potential is a gradual evolution of small wins and breakthroughs, not overnight success. The fundamentals. Why tiny changes make a big difference. This section lays the groundwork for the power of atomic habits. Chapter 1. The surprising power of atomic habits. Clear introduces the concept of the aggregation of marginal gains through the story of British cycling's transformation under performance director Dave Brailsford in 2003. For nearly a century, British cyclists had been mediocre, winning only 1 Olympic gold medal since 1908, and never the Tour de France. Brailsford implemented tiny improvements across every aspect of the team, from testing massage gels and teaching hand-washing techniques to optimize recovery and prevent illness, to selecting the best pillows and mattresses for sleep, and even painting the inside of the team truck white to spot dust. These hundreds of small improvements accumulated rapidly, leading to astounding results. Within 5 years, British cycling dominated the 2008 Beijing Olympics, winning 60% of the available gold medals, and setting 9 Olympic records at the 2012 London Games. Clear explains the math behind this. A 1% improvement each day for a year leads to being 37 times better, while a 1% decline leads to nearly 0. He calls habits the compound interest of self-improvement, stating that their effects multiply over time, seemingly making little difference daily, but delivering enormous impact over months and years. The slow pace of transformation can be frustrating, leading people to abandon new habits because immediate results aren't visible, and also makes it easy to dismiss single bad decisions. However, small, repeated errors, tiny mistakes, and rationalized excuses accumulate into toxic results. Clear argues that to predict your future, you need only follow the curve of tiny gains or losses, as daily choices compound over 10 or 20 years. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. Good habits make time an ally, while bad habits make it an enemy. He uses the analogy of an ice cube melting at 32 degrees Fahrenheit to illustrate that breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions building potential. This often creates a valley of disappointment, where progress seems non-existent in the early stages, frustrating individuals who expect linear results. Mastery requires patience, akin to a stonecutter hammering a rock 100 times without a crack, only for it to split on the 101st blow. It's the accumulation of all previous efforts that causes the breakthrough. Forget about goals, focus on systems. Instead, Clear challenges the conventional wisdom of setting specific goals, stating that his results had less to do with goals and almost everything to do with the systems he followed. Goals are about results, while systems are about the processes that lead to those results. He uses the analogy of a scoreboard in sports. The goal is to win, but the only way to win is to get better each day, focusing on the system of play rather than just the score. He outlines 3 problems with focusing too much on goals. Problem number 1. Winners and losers have the same goals. Setting ambitious goals alone doesn't guarantee success. Many people share the same goals, but don't achieve them. Problem number 2. Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Goals provide temporary fixes, whereas true, lasting improvement requires solving problems at the system's level. Fixing the inputs will fix the outputs. Problem number 3. Goals restrict your happiness. A goals-first mentality often leads to delaying happiness until a milestone is reached, creating an either-or conflict where happiness is tied solely to achieving the goal. A system of atomic habits. Clear argues that if you struggle to change habits, the problem lies not with you, but with your system. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. An atomic habit is a tiny change, a 1% improvement. But more importantly, it's a small habit that is part of a larger system. Just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. These tiny routines may seem insignificant individually, but they are fundamental units that contribute to overall improvement. The core message is to forget about setting goals and instead focus on building robust systems. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity, and vice versa. This chapter explores why changing habits is difficult and introduces the 3 layers of behavior change: outcome change, process change, and identity change. Most people focus on outcome changes, e.g., losing weight, writing a book. But the most effective and lasting change occurs at the identity level. True behavior change is about becoming a certain type of person. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. By focusing on who you want to be and taking small actions that reinforce that identity, you can gradually transform yourself. The real reason habits matter is not just for better results, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. Chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. Clear introduces the 4-step habit loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. Cue. A trigger that signals a habit is about to begin. Craving. The motivational force behind every habit, which is the desire for a change in state, not the habit itself. Response. The actual habit you perform, which can be a thought or an action. Reward. The end goal of every habit, which satisfies the craving and teaches you which actions are worth remembering in the future. This framework leads to the 4 laws of behavior change for creating good habits and breaking bad ones. These laws act as levers influencing human behavior. The first law, cue, make it obvious. The second law, craving, make it attractive. The third law, response, make it easy. The fourth law, reward, make it satisfying. These laws can be inverted to break bad habits. Inversion of the first law, cue, make it invisible. Inversion of the second law, craving, make it unattractive. Inversion of the third law, response, make it difficult. Inversion of the fourth law, reward, make it unsatisfying. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. This chapter title is listed in the table of contents, but the content for this specific chapter is not explicitly available in the provided snippets. However, based on the context of the book, it likely delves into stories or examples that illustrate the impact of subtle cues and environmental factors on behavior, setting the stage for the first law of habit change. Chapter 5. The Best Way to Start a New Habit. This chapter likely focuses on the Make It Obvious law. While the full content isn't provided, the summary section mentions habits, scorecard, writing down current habits to become aware of them, implementation intentions, defining precisely when and where a new habit will be performed, arrêter, when X happens, I will do Y. Habit stacking, piling a new habit on top of an existing one, e.g., after current habit, I will in new habit. Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. This chapter directly relates to the make it obvious law. Clear argues that motivation is fleeting, and that our environment plays a much larger role in shaping our habits. People with high self-control tend to spend less time in tempting situations, as it's easier to avoid temptation than resist it. One practical way to eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that causes it. The chapter likely discusses how to design your environment to make good habits more obvious and bad habits less so. For instance, he mentions redefining or rearranging your environment and using the mantra, one space, one use, to create distinct areas for different activities, e.g., work, sleep, to avoid blurred lines and unwanted behaviors. Chapter 7. The Secret to Self-Control. This chapter expands on the make it invisible principle, the inversion of the first law. Clear asserts that self-control is a short-term, not long-term strategy. Once a habit is formed, it's unlikely to be forgotten. The most practical way to eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cues that trigger it. This means making the cues of bad habits invisible to remove their influence. Chapter 8. How to Make a Habit Irresistible. This chapter aligns with the make it attractive law. The key is to make good habits appealing and bad habits unattractive. Temptation. Bundling, combining an action you need to do with an action you want to do, e.g., only watching your favorite show while exercising. The role of dopamine. Habits are dopamine-driven feedback loops. Dopamine is released not just when we experience pleasure, but also when we anticipate it, making cravings crucial to habit formation. By associating a habit with a positive feeling, you increase its attractiveness. Reframing your mindset. Changing how you think about your habits can make them more attractive. For example, instead of, I have to wake up early, think, I get to wake up early and pursue my goals. Understanding underlying motives. Every behavior has a surface-level craving and a deeper underlying motive. Habits are often modern solutions to ancient desires, e.g., the desire for social connection drives social media use. To make habits attractive, link them to these deeper desires. Alan Carr's method for quitting smoking is used as an example, by reframing the perceived benefits of smoking into negative consequences, thereby making it unattractive. Chapter 9. The Role of Family and Friends in Shaping Your Habits. This chapter delves into the social aspect of making habits attractive, emphasizing that humans are social creatures who learn by imitating those around them. We imitate the habits of three groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. When changing habits means fitting in with your tribe, it becomes very attractive. Conversely, challenging the tribe makes change unattractive. We are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. This highlights the importance of surrounding yourself with people who embody the habits you want to adopt. Chapter 10. How to Find and Fix the Causes of Your Bad Habits. This chapter likely circles back to the inversion of the second law, make it unattractive, and delves into practical ways to make unwanted behaviors less appealing. This includes reframing your associations with bad habits, such as seeing smoking as destructive rather than stress-relieving. By reprogramming your predictions about a behavior's outcome, you can transform a hard habit into an attractive one. The third law, make it easy. This section focuses on reducing friction and making good habits effortless. Chapter 11. Walk slowly, but never backward. Specific content for this chapter is not detailed in the provided snippets, but the title suggests the importance of consistent, albeit slow, progress over large, inconsistent efforts, echoing the compounding effects discussed earlier. Chapter 12. The Law of Least Effort. This chapter emphasizes that humans are wired to follow the path of least resistance. The goal is to make good habits as easy as possible to start and perform. This can involve priming your environment, e.g., laying out workout clothes the night before, simplifying tasks, and reducing the number of steps required to begin a habit. Chapter 13. How to Stop Procrastinating by Using the 2-Minute Rule. Clear introduces the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make the initial step of a habit so easy that you can't say no. For example, instead of read a book, the 2-minute version is read 1 page. This helps overcome procrastination by lowering the barrier to entry and reinforcing the identity of someone who performs the habit. It's better to do less than you hoped than nothing at all. The 4th law: make it satisfying. This section focuses on making good habits immediately rewarding. Chapter 14: How to make good habits. Inevitable and bad habits impossible. This chapter focuses on automation and commitment devices. Automation makes good habits inevitable by removing the need for conscious effort, often through technology, e.g., automatic savings plans, setting up automatic bill pay. Commitment devices are choices you make in the present that control your actions in the future, making it harder to revert to bad habits. The concept is to increase the friction for bad habits, making them impossible or incredibly difficult to perform. Chapter 15: The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change. The content for this specific chapter is not detailed, but it likely summarizes the overarching principle. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. This links directly to the 4th law of making it satisfying. Chapter 16: How to Stick with Good Habits. Every day. This chapter delves into habit tracking and visual measures of progress. Tracking your habits, e.g., with a streak calendar, provides immediate satisfaction and a visual cue that motivates continuation. It also helps in identifying when you miss a habit, allowing you to get back on track quickly. The goal is to not miss a habit twice, as 1 slip-up is an accident, but 2 is the start of a new bad habit. Chapter 17: How an Accountability Partner Can Change Everything. This chapter focuses on adding an immediate social cost to inaction, linking to the inversion of the 4th law: make it unsatisfying. Humans care deeply about what others think of them and want to avoid negative opinions. An accountability partner, or a habit contract, makes the costs of violating your promises public and painful. Knowing that someone else is watching or that there are consequences provides a powerful motivator to stick to good habits and avoid bad ones. Advanced Tactics: How to Go from Being Merely Good to Being Truly Great. This section moves beyond the fundamentals, exploring more nuanced aspects of habit formation and long-term mastery. Chapter 18: The Truth About Talent. When Genes Matter and When They Don't. Specific content for this chapter is not detailed, but it likely discusses the interplay between genetic predispositions and habit formation, emphasizing that while genes may influence certain aptitudes, consistent effort and well-designed habits can still lead to significant success, regardless of innate talent. Chapter 19: The Goldilocks Rule: How to Stay Motivated in Life and Work. This chapter suggests that humans are most motivated when working on tasks that are just right, not too easy to be boring, and not too difficult to be discouraging. It's about finding the optimal level of challenge to maintain engagement and avoid stagnation or overwhelm. This is often described as finding a flow state, where the challenge slightly exceeds current abilities. Chapter 20: The Downside of Creating Good Habits. While habits offer numerous benefits by allowing us to do things without thinking, their downside is that they can lock us into previous patterns of thinking and acting, even when circumstances change. This can lead to a lack of self-awareness and attention to small errors. Clear introduces the importance of reflection and review as an antidote, allowing you to remain conscious of your performance and periodically check if old habits and beliefs are still serving you. The tighter we cling to an identity, the harder it becomes to grow beyond it. Conclusion: The secret to results that last. The conclusion ties everything together, revisiting the idea of tiny changes compounding into remarkable results, similar to the Sorite's paradox, the heap paradox. One coin doesn't make a person rich, but adding one by one eventually does. Similarly, one tiny habit change might not transform your life, but a series of them, consistently applied, will. The secret to lasting results is the accumulation of these atomic habits within a well-designed system. The book emphasizes that while luck plays a role, habits are the most important factor within your control.